While millions of Americans watch every evening as Bret Baier reads the day's biggest news from behind the Fox News desk, most people don't know about the personal heartbreak this experienced news reporter has dealt with for almost 20 years. A newborn baby boy born with a heart the size of a walnut pumping blood the wrong direction. 5 open heart surgeries before he became a teenager. A car accident in Montana that left the whole family stuck upside down in a frozen ditch. Losing his father suddenly, the man who helped make Bret who he is. And maybe most hurtful of all, private text messages that got leaked and would destroy his carefully built reputation as one of TV's most fair and honest reporters. This is the story of a man who spent his job telling hard truths to America only to face truths in his own life that no school for reporters could have prepared him for. The year 2007 should have been nothing but success for Bret Baier. Fox News had just made him the network's White House reporter, an important job covering the Bush government. His career was going straight up. But as Bret was reaching work success he'd worked years to get, his personal world was about to fall apart in a hospital delivery room. Amy Baier had their first son that year, a baby they called Paul. Having the baby went smoothly. No problems, no warning signs, just another healthy baby coming into the world, or so it looked. But right after birth, one of the nurses saw something worrying. The baby looked pale, his skin color wasn't quite right. What happened next was every parent's worst nightmare happening right then. Medical tests showed a terrible diagnosis. Paul had been born with 5 heart problems from birth. His tiny heart, no bigger than a walnut, was pumping blood the wrong way through his body. The problems were bad enough that doctors gave news no parent wants to hear. Their newborn baby would need open heart surgery in a few days. There was a very real chance Paul might not live to come home with his parents. Bret and Amy were Catholic, raised with strong faith, but nothing prepares you for watching your newborn baby taken into an operating room. The couple relied heavily on prayer during those scary first days. Bret would later talk about his thoughts during this time, sharing his belief that a loving God had a bigger plan for Paul and for their family. But in those early moments, faith and fear were together side by side. Paul had his first open heart surgery as a newborn. The surgery worked, but it was only the start of a medical journey that would shape the Baier family for years to come. Over the next years, Paul would face 4 more open heart surgeries. Between the major surgeries came 10 angioplasties, medical procedures meant to keep his damaged heart system working. Each surgery had life-threatening dangers. Each recovery time brought its own problems. The Baiers came up with ways to cope to survive the constant hospital stays. They created a family, saying they would repeat during the hardest moments. We're one day closer to getting Paul home. It became their anchor, a way to measure progress. When the road ahead seemed impossibly long, even when home felt far away, they could see the light at the end of the tunnel, however far it might be. In 2014, 7 years into their journey with Paul's heart problem, Bret decided to share their story with the world. He wrote a book called Special Heart with the subtitle A Journey of Faith, Hope, Courage, and Love. The book told every scary moment of Paul's medical journey, giving readers an honest look at what families facing heart problems from birth go through. Bret wrote openly about the stress Paul's condition put on his marriage to Amy, the fears that kept him awake at night, and the faith that kept them going through the worst moments. The book did 2 things. It helped other families going through similar diagnoses feel less alone, but it also sent all money earned toward heart disease research. The Baiers had learned that nearly 1% of all births in the United States involve heart problems from birth, yet people didn't know much about it. Bret used his platform to change that. During this time, Bret got important emotional support from an unlikely person. Bret Hume, the well-known Fox News anchor Bret had replaced on Special Report, had gone through his own family tragedy when his grown son died by suicide. Hume understood sadness and fear in ways most co-workers couldn't. He gave advice to Bret during the early days of Paul's health crisis. "It's going to get better," Hume told him. "You have to trust in God and the doctors and put it in God's hands." As Paul grew up, the Baiers worked hard to keep things normal. When their second son, Daniel, came in 2010, they became aware of making sure both boys felt equally loved and supported. There was always a risk that Daniel might feel left out with so much attention focused on his older brother's health, but the brothers became very close. And Paul, despite everything, was determined to live as normal a life as possible. The Baier family vacation to Montana in 2019 was supposed to be exactly what they needed, a chance to go skiing, breathe mountain air, and for a moment forget about heart monitoring and hospital visits. Paul's health had been pretty stable. The family could finally relax, or so they thought. The ski trip itself went great. The boys enjoyed the slopes. Bret and Amy got some much-needed time to relax. As the vacation ended, the family got into their car for the drive to the airport. They were heading home with good memories, already planning their next family trip. Nobody could have guessed what would happen next on that Montana road. The car hit an icy spot. Bret lost control. Before anyone could fully understand what was happening, they crashed into a truck. The hit sent their SUV flying off the road. The car flipped, landing completely upside down in a roadside ditch. Just months later in 2020, Bret's phone would ring with news that would bring a different kind of pain. Bret's father had been diagnosed with cancer. The disease got worse quickly. Within months of the diagnosis, Bret got word that the end was near. He traveled to be with his father, and the whole family came together for his passing. The loss hit Bret harder than he'd thought it would. He talked about his relationship with his father in a MarketWatch interview just 3 years earlier, explaining how greatly his father had shaped his work ethic. From the teenage landscaping business Bret had run to the way he handled his job as a news anchor, his father's influence ran through everything. The time after the 2020 presidential election created chaos throughout American media and politics. Donald Trump refused to admit defeat to Joe Biden, claiming widespread election fraud. Many Republicans repeated these claims, with some GOP politicians saying the election had been stolen through messed up voting machines and corrupted vote counts. The accusations targeted one company in particular. Dominion Voting Systems made electronic voting equipment used across the country. In the weeks after the election, the company became the focus of increasingly crazy fraud accusations. Conservative media personalities claimed Dominion's machines had been programmed to switch votes from Trump to Biden. The accusations had no proof, but spread quickly through right-wing media circles, and Fox News, Bret's employer, became one of the loudest spreaders of these claims. The company filed a huge defamation lawsuit against Fox News, asking for $1.6 billion in damages. Dominion accused the network of purposely destroying its reputation with false claims that its executives knew weren't true. The lawsuit started extensive discovery proceedings, and Bret found himself questioned and investigated as part of the case. As Fox News pushed farther right after Trump's loss, Bret found himself increasingly alone within his own workplace. Bret made a decision that showed where his priorities were. He suggested a special episode that would carefully look at and prove wrong the election fraud claims spreading through conservative media. Bret submitted the proposal and waited for a response. He's still waiting. The special was never made. Eventually, some of those private messages leaked to the press. The Daily Beast got text messages between Bret and Tucker Carlson, one of the network's biggest stars. What those texts showed would change how many people saw Bret Baier forever. The messages showed Bret and Tucker talking about Fox News' decision-making around calling election results. The network was getting intense anger from Trump supporters mad that Biden was winning states. The text showed that Bret admitted the network's main audience wasn't happy with Biden's success and needed reassurance. Even more damaging, Bret wrote that he was personally pushing network decision-makers to slow down their election calls. Fox News did become the last major network to officially call the election for Joe Biden. Here was written evidence suggesting Bret had let political considerations affect news judgment. In the end, Fox News settled the Dominion lawsuit for $787.5 million, one of the largest defamation settlements in American media history. Despite the work turmoil surrounding the Dominion scandal and the leaked texts, the Baiers never lost sight of what really mattered. Paul's battle with his heart condition continued, and the family's mission to help others facing similar struggles pushed them forward. In 2023, the couple made their most significant financial commitment yet. They donated $1 million to Children's National Hospital specifically to start the Baier Family Congenital Heart Disease Research Program. Meanwhile, Paul continued to prove people wrong. Despite his ongoing medical challenges, he refused to let his condition define his limitations. He joined his high school's varsity golf team and also played varsity tennis. Then came a 2024 and a discovery that reminded everyone how dangerous Paul's situation still was. A routine chest x-ray showed something that sent chills through the whole medical team. Doctors found a life-threatening aneurysm